I'm not sure what's gotten into the cornflakes of the folks at CG, but they seem to have turned a corner because the communication that we're getting from them is actually getting sharp and to the point. Who would have thought it? We've actually had some more news. Now, if you haven't seen my video that I put out yesterday talking about the announced GL requirements, the first set at the very least for GL Mando and some of the problems and plus sides to it, you will know that Rotta, the latest journey guide unit that is in the game right now, has been confirmed to be a requirement for this GL and why that causes issues around how do we unlock him and the communication that CG gave us. Go watch that first and then we'll talk about it here now. You gone? You don't just stand there and say, I'll watch it later. I'm waiting. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Galaxy of Heroes video with me, your bald boy Scribe. How the devil are we all doing? I hope we're doing fine and dandy, baby. So, couple of things that I want to go over today. Number one, of course, why do we have shortcut buttons open? I don't want shortcut buttons open. Let's turn those key binding displays off. Ugh, gross. Anyway, what are we talking about? Journey Guide. As we can all see, Beskar, Armor, Mando, and Grogu, the next galactic legend that is coming to the holotables. Our first set of requirements for this GL are coming out probably in a staged release, but our first set are out there right now. So first one was OG Mando to Relic 10. It should come as no surprise. We did that yesterday. All very good fun, terrible unit. I mean, it's not terrible, but nobody wants to R10 OG Mando, right? Then you got R5D for Relic 9, another really heavy investment. And then, you know, I imagine we're probably going to have similar levels of relic requirements for the remaining marquees of this era that we're in. Grief Cargo Relic 7. But the real contentious piece is Rotta the Hutt being required at Relic 6. There was no indication that Rotta the Hutt was going to be required for this galactic legend, even if it made sense, thematically speaking, for Rotta to be a requirement. There was no announcement that CG were going to have this guy as a requirement. I will show you very quickly what was actually said by CG and why this has caused such a bone of contention for so many people. It was this post right here. The journey guide unit for this era will be the one and the only Rotta the Hutt, require all having previous marquees, yada yada yada. Additionally, later this year, the newest galactic legend unit will require units from the New Republic era as part of their requirements, so there's now even more reason to make sure you pick them up. Now, this last sentence does not say Rotta is a requirement for the galactic legend. It says this newest galactic legend will require units from the New Republic. You might as well say units from the Rebel faction. Does that mean you're going to need to have GL Layer as a requirement for a new GL? No. Moreover, it was reinforced further, ladies and gentlemen, because every single new marquee that we had come to the game would bring its own newsletter, and part of that newsletter would be right at the bottom. It would say stuff like, this marquee will be required for this year's galactic legend, and they said nothing about that specifically for Rotta. The reason that causes issues for people is because those of you that want to try and push for the new Mando and Grogu Galactic Legend are then at the mercy of the cadence of the release date of Rotta the Hutt. Does he come back in 3 months' time, in 4 months' time, in 5 months' time, in 6 months' time, etc, etc, etc. And that is not particularly kind to people that are trying to farm this new GL. All they would have to say is, by the way, he's going to be part of it, and more people would have invested in Rotta and less people would have been complaining. On the plus side, ladies and gentlemen, we have already had an announcement from our lovely overlords at CG. This was posted a few hours after I did my video yesterday going over the requirements, talking about what I like and what I don't like, and they have confirmed. CG Meathead says, hello holotable heroes. We saw some questions about Rotta and we wanted to let you know that Rotta the Hutt's event will return prior to the GL Mando and Grogu event launch. See you on the holotables. So what they're saying is, before we get this GL released, you will see a return of the Rotta event. Now, if you are looking to try and get that Mando and Grogu GL as soon as possible, you are going to have to make sure that you are farming these marquees as soon as possible. We are coming up to the end of the era very, very shortly, and I believe that the way it normally works is as soon as this era ends, when the shipment store refreshes, which is going to be just over here, when shipment stores refresh, you should be able to purchase those marquee units through shipments. It will cost you roughly 80 crystals per shard per marquee character. Okay, so I'm not going to give you an exact price because some people will be 4 stars, some people will be 5, some people will be 6, etc, etc. And you'll have to try and extrapolate how many shards you need, how many purchases you need to make. And they can come in different sizes. As you can see, you've got stuff like Sinterkaz already up here. After that store refresh, we should be getting 1 marquee released to a node and become farmable the second week, and then it's going to be 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks we will get one. So if we are looking at from a calendar perspective down over here, we should be having the store refresh at the end of this era over here. Then we will look to have our very first marquee release to the game in a free-to-play farmable way around about the 4th. Okay, around about the 4th of August, and then it'll be every 2 weeks after that a new unit will drop to the game, and it will go in the order of the release of the marquees. Okay, so we're going to start off and it's going to be R5, and then it's going to be Zeb, and then it's going to be Colonel Ward, and then it's going to be Carson Teva, and then it's going to be Grogu, and then it's going to be the Snowtrooper Commander. Okay, with that in mind, it is usually quite typical that the last marquee to be released will be the one that you have the least shards of. So that's the one that you're going to have to panic farm if you have not already got these units to 7-star. Now, if you're one of those people that took these units to 7-star but did not want to spend the additional money taking them from 7-star, whatever era level you had, to 125, then you are going to be okay for the most part. You're just going to have to take them up. When it comes to what relic level will be required for Rotta the Hutt's legendary event when it does return, that has not been confirmed, but don't let that dissuade you. We can make some assumptions, and I will say that these are assumptions, you know, evidence-based assumptions, but assumptions nonetheless. What we should probably do is just take a look at what is established already for events like this one. We know Rotta's here. The previous one was Cassian Andor. That's going to be our most recent evidence-based result. If you look at Cassian Andor, his requirements for his event are quite literally all of his marquees at Relic 6. I think that will be a sensible place to put your units to. You do not necessarily have to take these units right now to Relic 6 or when the era ends to Relic 6, but make sure that you hoard the resources until we find out what the requirements are. I will try to cover that as soon as they are made available, okay? Now, I wouldn't be surprised, necessarily speaking, if the requirements for Rotta's event are actually slightly higher. Do they go up to Relic 7? Do we have some 7s and some 6s? Do they go to 8? I don't think so. I think Relic 6 is probably the safe bet. If we look back at Maul, his requirements were all Relic 6 as well. So it just sort of reinforces the idea that journey guides going back or returning to the, journey guide events coming back to the journey guide when they're out there, most likely right now are going to be Relic 6 requirements. I 100% expect that number, that relic level, to increase over the years. Because we get more and more access to additional relic levels, they keep on increasing the cap for relic levels. I still maintain Relic 11 is probably still coming this year. Then I think that'll happen. I just don't think it's right now. Similarly, I imagine Jar Jar will have the same sort of requirements down the line when we eventually get them. Now, there's one other thing that I did want to point out. It has been a bone of contention with a few other people around the error levels that we've got for our units and how that translates over into gear levels. I have to jump over onto the alt account in order to make this point across, but this is a problem that many people are being faced with in the free-to-play community. My free-to-play account is suffering from it as well. We're at the end of the era and you can see the levels that I've got. Most notably, I have got 2 marquee characters, one at 97, one at 96. If we were to look at what these levels translate to in terms of gear, you can see I'm stuck at gear 10 for these 2 units. CG did say that all of our new marquees will be going to gear 12 at a minimum if you've played everything all era. This account unlocked Rotta the Hutt at 5 stars, invested in all the units, did all the nice things, cleared all the tiers that I'm supposed to within Colosseum, and yet I do not have the materials to take these guys further. The reason for this is probably the old adage of a lack of communication from CG. Basically, what I imagine we were supposed to do was take our units to error level 105. Unfortunately, I didn't do that. And I know quite a few people didn't. I took a couple of my units to 110 because more error levels is better results in Colosseum, particularly with Rotta the Hutt. You want to try and max out his error levels as high as possible because he gives you better rewards in Colosseum, lets you climb higher, which is more error currency, which means more lightspeed tokens, more relic materials, more development in your roster. We are rewarded for investing further. However, they were expecting us to go to 105, which would have saved us a bunch of materials to take the other units to 105 as well. My only issue with this sort of thing is, why would you let us go further and not cap us out if it meant that we couldn't actually take all of our units all the way up to gear 12? Like, should have just capped us at 105, not 114, right? Like, not only that, but we also had error challenges as part of that. I believe the Snowtrooper one is still active. So if we were to check that out right now, you can see by going down here, we actually have incentives to push our error levels higher. Snowtrooper has got all the way up to 125. And I know I'm not supposed to go to 125, but there's stuff for 108, there's stuff for 111. So we're kind of we're kind of encouraged to take those error levels higher, and I believe it was same for Grogu. Last time it was like 110. So it's like, oh, we should probably take these guys up to 110. I have the resources to do it. And then it turns out you can't actually fully gear 12 all your units. There is also a part of me that has a feeling that they don't give you enough to do Rotta the Hutt as well as all of the marquees. You have to choose between Rotta and the marquees, essentially. This could have been saved if CG had just either designed this a little bit differently, or just made sure that we had enough mats to go there, or locked us at 105, not 114, etc, etc, etc. So it is something, a word of caution for everybody that is looking to invest in the next era. Think about this. If you really care about getting all of these units up to gear 12, make sure you allocate your resources accordingly and potentially don't take people beyond 105 unless you are willing to drop additional hard cash on those materials to take all of your other units up to the appropriate error level. In my opinion, this is something that should probably have been better designed from CG's perspective, but I'm not going to lose any more hair over it, not that I can. One final reminder then before we wrap up this video, ladies and gentlemen, I do want to reiterate that CG has course corrected. They are going to give us the Mark 7s on the 5-star unlock of the Journey Guide. This is a huge, huge win for us in the community, meaning we shouldn't theoretically be gate capped there, and we should be saving just a little bit of our funds when it comes to investing in error levels for our units. One thing to note over here, where is it saying it? Over here somewhere, I believe. These insights rewards are enough to upgrade 6 characters from error level 110 to 116. So let it be known, and this is true of last era, you will be able to get your marquees to gear 13, relic level. Essentially relic level 0, basically. But you will not be able to do it for the Journey Guide unit instead. Or you could sacrifice one of the marquees and use that on the Journey Guide unit instead. I haven't looked at the gear requirements. It's just going to be a case of some gear 13 pieces might be different to other pieces, right? So you won't be able to take all 7. It's only going to be 6 units. I don't really think that's a huge, huge deal. Could they have been kind and just let us do everything? Yeah, sure, of course. But hey, these are the cards that we dealt with. Overall, I think it's still a net win. I'm liking the communication. I'm liking the fact that Rotta is coming back before the GL event goes live. You will have to be very, very cognizant about where do you need to put your resources. Are you going to be putting crystals into, say, Snowtrooper ahead of time, early on, when he is in that shipment purchase phase, so that you've got enough time to build up the shards? As for when Rotta the Hutt is going to come back, when the GL is going to be released, we have no suggestion just yet. We do not know the timeline. We do not know the cadence. We can make some assumptions. Usually between first announcement of requirements to the actual release of the character, it takes about 3 months. I have a feeling this one's coming a little bit sooner than that. It will take about, I want to say 6 weeks for all of our units. Well, it's 6 times 2, right? So it'll take 12 weeks for all of our units to basically become free-to-play farmable. So yeah, it's going to be about 3 months, boys. It's probably going to be about 3 months. We can probably expect a return of the Cassian Andor and the Maul hate-fueled event sometime shortly soon. It's an assumption, guys. We don't know. I have a feeling that the GL event will come back sooner. So if you are thinking about it, potentially hoard your crystals so that you can use them to get the star levels up on your marquee characters. Don't forget as well, we are going to be having era battles. Those era battles can reward you with shards of the current era marquee units. We will get era battles that will use, there'll be two. One will use a triple set, I haven't looked which ones. One will use another triple set, and one will have Rotta in it as well. It'll be one of the other two. For some reason, they don't let you use the legendary unit in both of them. Those early stages, the first two, I believe, might be the first three, will drop random shards of one of the 3 units that you can use on that. So that might well help you develop your roster further. Make sure you do not miss those era battles. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I've waffled on for far too long. Please do me a massive favor. Give me a like, comment down below. If you're not subscribed already, subscribe to the tribe, baby, and I will see you all in the very next video. Peace out, and may the Force be with you.